What if I mentioned that Edgar Cayce, the most extensively recorded psychic in America, issued a caution about a small gland in your brain that could transform your spiritual life? This alert has been hidden in the archives of Virginia Beach for years, and the majority of people are unaware of its presence. Have you experienced a sense of obstruction in your spiritual development? As if you're intended to reach a higher consciousness, but there's an unseen force that prevents you from doing so. Feel free to share your unusual meditation experiences or instances when you felt a connection to something beyond yourself in the comments below. In the upcoming 12 minutes, I will share 3 astonishing insights derived from Edgar Cayce's documented readings concerning your pineal gland. First, I will explain why he referred to it as the seat of the soul and what that truly signifies for your spiritual growth. Second, I will discuss the particular technique mentioned in reading 294-141 that he claimed could enable you to maintain eternal youth. Lastly, I'll highlight the overlooked caution regarding the consequences of calcification of this gland, and why contemporary life is progressively hindering your spiritual connection. However, before we delve into what could be the most vital spiritual understanding you'll encounter this year, I have a question for you. Have you ever considered why various ancient cultures, ranging from Egypt to India, portrayed a third eye in their spiritual art? What significance did they attach to this particular location on the forehead during their sacred rituals? Edgar Cayce provided insight into this mystery, revealing answers that may surprise you. Born in 1877 in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Edgar Cayce earned the title of the Sleeping Prophet, delivering more than 14,000 recorded readings while in a trance. However, what many are unaware of is the intricacies of his psychic abilities. Cayce himself clarified in reading 294-141 that his talent was linked to the activation of 2 specific glands within his organism. He referred to the pineal gland as the spiritual hub of the brain, while the lytic gland served as the barrier between physical and spiritual awareness. However, there's an additional crucial aspect of Cayce's findings that shifts the entire perspective. In reading 294-142, he made a revelation that astonished even his stenographer. He stated that the pineal and lytic glands are, in fact, the literal seat of an entity's soul, rather than mere metaphors or symbols. He was elaborating on the specific physical point where your soul connects with your physical form. Take a moment to ponder that. Your soul, the timeless essence of you that was present before birth and will persist beyond death, has a particular location within your physical body. According to Cayce, this point is primarily associated with a small gland, roughly the size of a pea, situated deep in the core of your brain. However, this is where Cayce's caution becomes essential, and I will divulge more on this shortly. During Cayce's time in the early 1900s, scientists regarded the pineal gland as merely a remnant of evolution, perceived as a vestigial organ with no significant purpose. Physicians genuinely regarded it as irrelevant, yet Cayce, while in various trance states, referred to it as one of the most crucial glands in the human organism. In reading 294-141, he stated, and I quote, "Maintain the functionality of the pineal gland, and aging will not occur. You will remain youthful." This was not mere poetry or a metaphor. Cayce provided detailed insights on how the pineal gland influences what he termed the spiritual cycles of physical, mental, and spiritual growth and evolution. This makes the information all the more astonishing. The hormone melatonin, produced by the pineal gland, wasn't discovered by science until 1958. However, Cayce had been explaining the gland's regulatory roles for many years prior to this scientific breakthrough. But hold on. This insight will transform your perspective on meditation permanently. In reading 281-13, delivered to the initial study group in Virginia, Cayce articulated precisely what occurs during profound meditation. He noted that specific physical states emerge when a person engages in genuine meditation. An instance of physical activity occurs, prompting the activation of stimuli within a person, which he considers to be the location of the soul's residence. Cayce described this spiritual energy as ascending along what he referred to as the Apian way, or the silver cord, starting at the base of the spine and moving upward through what he called the pineal center to the lower part of the brain. From this point, it is distributed to various centers that energize both the mental and physical aspects of being. This phenomenon can explain the sensations of pressure or tingling in the forehead that you may experience during profound meditation. You can truly sense the activation of your pineal gland as spiritual energy flows through your body's energy centers. However, there is an overlooked caution that might clarify why so many individuals face challenges in their spiritual growth today. Cayce characterized the pineal not merely as a gland, but as a component of what he termed the pineal cord. This spiritual pathway stretches from the pineal gland in your head down to your spine, working in harmony with essential nerve centers located at particular vertebrae. When this system is disrupted due to spinal issues, such as stress or what we now identify as calcification, the connection between the soul and the physical body can be hindered. In approximately 260 readings, Cayce referred to irregularities in the functioning of the pineal gland, which led to various issues in the body. This included physical ailments such as toxemia, congestion, and imbalances in the glands. Mentally, he noted problems such as what he termed the disconnection between the voluntary and involuntary nervous systems, along with spiritual challenges where individuals struggle to reach higher levels of consciousness. Here is a technique that Cayce shared, which many people are unfamiliar with, and it's more straightforward than one might think. In reading 3:11-4, Cayce outlined a meditation technique that specifically targeted the pineal gland. He suggested closing your eyes and engaging in inner meditation, allowing the essential elements to emerge through the nervous system, particularly along the pineal gland. Keep in mind that this process extends from your toes all the way to the top of your head, calming all nerve energies. He mentioned that even a brief meditation, lasting just half a minute to a minute, can foster strength if the body can physically perceive this energy flow, whether you're walking, standing, or resting. However, there's a profound aspect that Cayce uncovered in the 281 series readings, which is where it becomes truly fascinating. Cayce indicated that during meditation, when you concentrate on elevating the spiritual energy from the lower energy centers directly to the pineal, while momentarily bypassing the other centers, something extraordinary takes place. That energy activates what he referred to as the highest center, linked to the pituitary gland, before descending to purify the consciousness patterns associated with all the lower spiritual centers. This is the reason why Cayce frequently mentioned the connection between the pineal and pituitary glands as the open door and the closed door, respectively. While the pineal serves as the command center, the pituitary acts as the master gland responsible for distributing spiritual energy throughout the entire body temple. You'll be surprised to learn what contemporary science has unearthed regarding the pineal gland. Studies have indeed validated that the pineal gland is responsive to light and darkness, just as Cayce articulated. The pineal gland generates melatonin when it's dark and decreases its production in the presence of light. However, there is another intriguing aspect that researchers uncovered, which Cayce seemed to know long before its revelation. This gland houses genuine photoreceptor cells, akin to those in your eyes. Additionally, it holds calcium carbonate crystals that can calcify over time as a result of exposure to fluoride, processed foods, and various environmental toxins. When these crystals undergo calcification, the functionality of the gland is hindered. This may clarify why Cayce frequently suggested particular treatments aimed at promoting pineal gland health. He advocated for spinal adjustments by osteopaths, asserting they aided in aligning the pineal centers along the spine. He also endorsed electrical therapies, such as the radial appliance, which he believed improved the body's soul connection, along with dietary suggestions designed to maintain the gland's peak performance. However, Cayce issued a caution that many tend to overlook, highlighting the spiritual risks associated with a dormant pineal gland. In reading 294-140, he referred to the lady gland as the guardian of a doorway, allowing either passion or miracles to be unleashed for those on the quest to find their way through. To put it differently, when your spiritual centers operate effectively, you can tap into extraordinary states of awareness. However, when these centers are obstructed or hardened, you find yourself ensnared in base desires and a materialistic mindset. Cayce observed numerous instances where dysfunction of the pineal gland resulted in what he referred to as soul sickness. Individuals became spiritually sightless, unable to connect with their intuition and severed from their soul's direction, confined to purely material thoughts. A well-documented example from the Cayce archives illustrates this scenario perfectly. A woman aged 35 visited Cayce, experiencing what modern doctors might diagnose as depression and anxiety. However, Cayce's insight uncovered a deeper issue. He indicated that there were adhesions in the pelvic organs that were directly linked to her pineal glands. The energy of her soul was effectively obstructed from ascending to the higher centers. Cayce recommended a series of targeted treatments, which included castor oil applications, osteopathic adjustments, and a specific meditation technique centered around the pineal area. Based on follow-up reports found in the ARE archives, her physical symptoms not only showed improvement, but she also started to notice what she referred to as a spiritual awakening, characterized by heightened intuition and a feeling of being connected to divine guidance. This concept aligns with what Cayce referred to in reading 294-142, indicating that the pineal gland and lydig serve as the seat of an entity's soul. When these centers are properly activated, access to what he termed the Akashic records, the universal storehouse of all knowledge and experience, becomes available. However, the most crucial aspect of Cayce's warning is that this insight could transform your spiritual journey beginning now. Cayce clarified that the pineal gland encompasses more than just meditation or spiritual experiences. It's all about maintaining a connection with your soul's purpose in this existence. When the pineal gland is stimulated, you can tap into what he referred to as Christ consciousness. This level of awareness allows you to recognize your unity with the divine creative energy. In his reading 281-13, Cayce stated that by engaging in proper meditation and activating the pineal, a person can encounter what he termed spiritual holy communion. This is the moment when the soul's mind converges with the Holy Spirit. This center, with daily meditation practice, can lead to what Cayce referred to as seership or prophecy. Here's the practical method that he suggested for activating the pineal gland each day, which you can begin tonight. First, Cayce advised meditating in the early morning when the world is calm and the music of the spheres is most accessible. Choose a tranquil spot where you won't be interrupted. Next, gently direct your focus to the space between your eyebrows, known as the third eye center by Cayce, ensuring that you don't exert any strain or pressure. Gently focus your awareness on that particular area as you take slow, deep breaths. Next, during your meditation, picture or sense a silver cord of light stretching from the base of your spine, passing through your pineal gland, and reaching the top of your head. According to Cayce, this imagery aids in activating what he referred to as the Appian Way, the route for spiritual energy movement. Finally, establish a clear intention to tap into your soul's wisdom and divine guidance. Cayce highlighted that the pineal gland reacts to genuine spiritual exploration and a wish to assist others. However, keep in mind Cayce's caution. He emphasized that endeavors to access these spiritual centers should never involve artificial methods such as drugs or coercive techniques. The unlocking of these centers should arise from dedicated and ongoing spiritual practice, along with what he referred to as the purification of the body, mind, and spirit. Here's an insight from the archives that many are unaware of regarding Cayce's own spiritual routine. According to his personal readings, Cayce engaged in daily meditation, particularly concentrating on activating his pineal gland. He believed this was crucial not only for enhancing his psychic abilities, but also for sustaining physical health and a spiritual connection throughout his life. In reading 294-130, Cayce emphasized that achieving success and a long life hinges on moderation. This principle pertains to diet, exercise, mental outlook, and spiritual practices. He cautioned against any extremes, asserting that a balanced lifestyle is crucial for optimal glandular performance. However, there's an additional aspect of Cayce's insights regarding the pineal gland that could transform your perception of your spiritual capabilities. He instructed that the pineal gland is closely linked to what he referred to as Christ consciousness, which embodies the recognition of your divine essence and unity with God. In his analysis of the Book of Revelation, he stated that the 7 spiritual centers within the body, including the pineal gland, symbolize the 7 seals that need to be unlocked for true spiritual enlightenment. He cautioned that these seals can only be opened through the Christ consciousness operating within each person. This indicates that activating the pineal gland goes beyond merely acquiring psychic skills or spiritual experiences. It's about serving as a vessel for divine love and contribution to the world. In reading 262-56, Cayce clarified that as each spiritual center is awakened and cleansed, an individual becomes increasingly adept at providing healing energy in the world. The pineal gland functions as the command center, orchestrating all these spiritual processes. Here's the deep insight that Cayce uncovered regarding the pineal gland and the journey of spiritual growth. He claimed that each soul comes into existence with a unique purpose, a mission that can only be realized when the spiritual centers are operating optimally. The pineal gland, which serves as the soul's seat, retains the memory of this purpose and offers direction for its achievement. When the pineal is calcified or inactive, individuals often feel adrift, disconnected from their purpose and spiritually unanchored. However, when it operates as intended, people experience what Cayce referred to as soul satisfaction, a profound sense of knowing that they are realizing their purpose during this lifetime. This is why Cayce's caution regarding the pineal gland is particularly significant in our era. In today's world, characterized by electromagnetic pollution, processed foods, artificial lighting, and ongoing stress, many individuals experience notable calcification of their pineal glands. However, there is optimism, as Cayce offered clear recommendations for rejuvenating this gland. He advised maintaining regular spinal care to ensure the nerve pathways remain unobstructed, drinking pure, fluoride-free water, consuming natural foods that enhance glandular health, and ensuring consistent exposure to both natural sunlight and cycles of darkness. Most crucially, he emphasized the importance of daily meditation focused on awakening spiritual centers. It's worth noting that Cayce mentioned in reading 3114 that even half a minute of meditation aimed at the pineal can enhance strength and foster spiritual connection. The essential factors are consistent practice and genuine intention. Here's how you can determine if your pineal gland is starting to reactivate based on Cayce's insights. You may begin to have more intense dreams and improved recall of those dreams. According to Cayce, the pineal gland is especially engaged during sleep, aiding in the organization of the soul's activities at night. Additionally, you might observe heightened intuition and accurate instincts, which Cayce referred to as hunches. When the pineal gland is functioning, it enables you to tap into knowledge that goes beyond the five senses. You may sense a link to a higher reality, which Cayce referred to as an awareness of the divine presence within. Additionally, you might encounter what he described as the fruits of the Spirit: heightened compassion, love, joy, peace, and a willingness to help others. However, do keep in mind Cayce's key lesson regarding the pineal gland. It isn't about seeking personal power or gaining psychic abilities for their own sake. It's about allowing divine love and wisdom to flow freely into the world through a clear channel. According to Cayce in reading 2:8-13, when the pineal center is activated, a person gains the capacity for what he referred to as spiritual healing. This entails being a healing influence through thoughts, words, and actions. This is the neglected warning and the overlooked promise that Edgar Cayce shared regarding the pineal gland. When this small gland operates as intended, you transform into the person you were destined to be in this lifetime. You tap into the wisdom of your soul, realize your spiritual mission, and become a source of inspiration for everyone around you. The decision is in your hands. You might choose to remain with a dormant, hardened pineal gland, experiencing a sense of spiritual disconnection and uncertainty about your life's purpose. Alternatively, you can heed Cayce's guidance and start a routine of pineal activation through meditation, mindful living, and genuine spiritual exploration. As Cayce mentioned in reading 294-141, if you maintain the pineal gland's function, you won't age. Instead, you will always retain your youth. Not only in a physical sense, but also on a spiritual level. Continually expanding, perpetually acquiring knowledge, and increasingly evolving into the person your soul was meant to be. What choice will you make? The door is present, and the key rests in your possession. Edgar Cayce taught us how to unlock it. The real question is, will you do it?